Hey guys, who are you? Welcome to Skyworld. The endless steppe, the horses. Where am I, guys? I guess it's Kazakhstan. Welcome to Kazakhstan, guys. We'll be exploring this country, we'll be visiting the major cities, and we'll be trying delicious food. So let's begin the journey. First of all, Kazakhstan is huge. It's the 9th largest country in the world, the size of Western Europe. It's located mainly in Central Asia, bordering Russia to the north and West, China to the east, Kyrgyzstan to the southeast, Uzbekistan to the south, and Turkmenistan to the southwest, with a coastline along the Caspian Sea. But with all that area, the population of the country is just 19.6 million people, so it is one of the lowest population densities in the world, fewer than 6 people per square kilometer. Let's take a quick look at the history. The territory of modern Kazakhstan had historically been inhabited by different nomadic groups. In the 8th and 9th centuries, Arabs conquered portions of southern Kazakhstan and introduced Islam. In the 13th century, the land was conquered by the Mongol Empire and the Genghis Khan. In the 15th century, the Gaza Khanate, successor of the Golden Horde, was formed and existed until the 19th century, when the Russian Empire spread into Central Asia. The Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 in Russia, Kazakhstan was colonized by the USSR. Kazakhstan was turned from a nomadic into a heavily industrial region with countless plants and factories. Tens of thousands of kilometers of railroads were built. This came at a huge price, though. When Stalin was trying to collectivize agriculture, Kazakhstan endured massive famine. 1.5 million people died, more than a third of all Kazakhs at the time. After the collapse of the USSR, Kazakhstan finally became an independent state, and today it's an amazing mixture of ethnic groups, cultures, and religions. So let's begin the trip. Our first stop is going to be the capital of Kazakhstan. Welcome to Astana. But at the time of our visit in September 2022, the name of the city was Nur-Sultan. How come the city changed names so many times? It's not surprising. Now it's Astana again. The Hashim River divides the city into two parts. The right one, that's the old part. We find a lot of old neighborhoods of 5-story buildings and the abundance of Soviet heritage, and the left part, that's the new part. This is where you find a lot of cool modern buildings designed by world-famous architects. Let's take a look at just a few of them. Palace of Peace and Reconciliation, in the form of a pyramid next to the Hazrat Sultan Mosque. National Museum of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Palace of Creativity, Shabat, and the Palace of Independence, and between them is the monument Kazakh Eli, on top of which there is the mystical bird Samrak Nazar. Center, in the form of a futuristic Abu Dhabi Plaza at 311 meters. It's the tallest building in Kazakhstan and all of Central Asia, and many more. The city became the capital relatively recently in 1997. Previously, the capital was Almaty. In 2017, Astana got the world attention when it was hosting Expo 2017. Kazakhstan exhibition was in this interesting building that looks like a bowling ball. In fact, this is the largest spherical building in the world. Nearby, you'll find the largest mosque in Central Asia with a capacity of 30,000 people, which opened in August 2022. The name of the mosque is the Grand Mosque of Astana, Forig, Abu Dhabi, and Moscow at the same time. It's a dynamic city with a lot of construction going on. The central part of the city and the most famous street is Nurjo Boulevard. Behind me is an observation tower, and it's called by direct, and it's probably one of the most recognized symbols of Nur-Sultan. This is a tower that's 105 meters high, symbolizing a mystical tree of life and a magic bird of happiness named Samrak, who laid her egg in the crevice between the two branches of the tree. Nearby, you'll find the presidential residence with an excellent park around. If you go the other way, you'll stumble upon a building that may remind you of Atlantis Hotel in Dubai. This building behind me, it reminds me of Atlantis Hotel in Dubai, but here it's just a building that belongs to one of the oil and gas companies, because Kazakhstan is one of the major oil and gas producers. In front of this building, there's a plaza with a fountain and a good selection of cafes, so you can finally sit down and try it. First, Bushper Mak. What's a Bashburger Mak? Bashper Mak is one of the traditional foods in Kazakhstan, and it means 5 fingers because nomads normally ate it with their hands. It's made from finely chopped boiled meat mixed with dough, and by the way, the meat is horse meat. If you go farther, you'll see the most famous shop in Mall Hanchatir, meaning the king of all tins in Astana. Even the shopping malls have a unique architectural style. Foreign What do I like about us tonight? The city is developing fast. In the year 2000, the population of the city was just 380,000 people, and today it's over 1.3 million. There are huge investments coming in both from the state and private investors, which means lots of jobs. Housing is relatively inexpensive. What are the disadvantages? The city has an extreme continental climate, meaning hot summers and winters that can get really cold. There's not enough trees, which makes it difficult to find shade, and the heat driving style of the locals is pretty hectic, and boy do they love to hunt. Since the city is in the steppe, there are not too many places to go to for the weekend. One of the popular ones is Bora Voya or Burab, 260 kilometers north of Astana. It's a resort in the national reserve with mountains, lakes, pine and birch groves, and clean air. Now from Astana, let's go to the fourth largest city of Kazakhstan, Karaganda. Now that we're on the freeway, we can accelerate, and the maximum speed is pretty generous, 140 kilometers an hour. Karaganda region had long been famous for its coal industry. Once a small settlement of miners, it received a town status in 1934. Today, Karaganda is a large city where coal mining and metal working companies are concentrated, so we decided to explore Kazakhstan more, and right now, we're in Karaganda or Karaganda. Karaganda is an industrial city and the center of coal mining. The population is 500,000 people. And it just happened that we got there at a time of the Miners' Day holiday. The whole city was partying. We walked around the park in the central streets and talked to some people. Treatment. These regions were notorious for the Stalin camp, Steplag and Karlak. We visited Karlag, a museum in memory of victims of political repressions. 40 kilometers away from Karaganda, Karlak was once one of the largest Gulag labor camps. The museum is so realistic, it makes you feel all the horror and misery this inmates had to go through. In the 1930s, dictator Stalin started mass deportations. Koreans, Germans, Chechens, Poles, Crimean Tatars, and other peoples were forcibly deported to the cold northern steppes of Kazakhstan. Around 1 million people passed through this Korlag labor camp. Kazakhstan suffered greatly under the Soviet occupation. Nearly all members of the Kazakh intelligentsia were executed, and 1/3 of the population died during collectivization. Now let's go to the largest city of Kazakhstan. It's located right here. We were planning to drive to Almaty, but unfortunately not a single rental company allows you to do that. They say the modern highway is not yet completed and there are too many bad sections of the road, so they don't want to take the risk. I just can't believe that the two largest cities of Kazakhstan are still not connected by a modern highway. Well, I guess it has to be a plane then, and 1.5 hours later we are in Almaty. And right off the bat, I can say that in comparison to Astana, the air feels different. It has more humidity, and also the city has a lot more vegetation, which is great. A lot more trees allowing you to hide away from the sun, and it's really hot outside, so that's a huge bonus. You're walking and you're not getting burned. Almaty is the largest city of Kazakhstan. The population is 2,147,000 people. It's located in the mountainous area of southern Kazakhstan near the border with Kyrgyzstan. The mountains are visible from anywhere in the city. For almost 70 years, the city was the capital of the country. Today, Almaty is still referred to as the southern capital because of its economic, social, and cultural impact. It really does feel like a capital city. Hey, the city even has a subway, although it's just 11 stations in one line, but it's really new and it was opened in 2011. Compared to Astana, the city has a better climate and is much greener. Tall trees with lush grounds provide shade from the sun. Almaty is called the Garden City for a reason. There's many parks to choose from, like this gorgeous botanical garden. Almaty is a green city, but also there are so many parks. Like right now we're in Botanical Garden, wonderful, huge. It has a lot of ponds. It has a lot of alleys, like this one's called the Oak Grove. Or this Almaty Central Park. This bear mask was having fun and running after kids, so I thought I'd have some fun too and give him a bigger challenge. Barely got away. There are always a lot of young people on the streets, lots of outdoor cafes, and in some places it feels like a resort town. Almaty is a fairly compact city. The center is easy to get around on foot. Better. You can start your walking tour from Penfield Pedestrian Street. It's always crowded. There are street musicians and a good choice restaurants. Don't forget to visit the green market and try some seasonal fruits. The symbol of the city is an apple. Almaty is translated from Kazakh as apple. The most famous variety of apples is Amida. Airport foreign. They're gonna surprise you by saying the mountains, so let's do the mountains. Let's take City Park. Toby, we want to spend probably about an hour walking in the hills. It's going to be gorgeous views and one of the popular sites in the city, and you'll be getting some great views as you travel to a height of 1130 meters above sea level, or 200 meters relative to the city. It's a Wonderful place, people come here first and foremost for fresh air. There's also an amusement park, a zoo, so many different activities for kids and adults, and there's the famous TV tower, and that's one of the sights of the city since the financial mark has been going down. The charging bull relocated from an exact copy. Next we go to the legendary ice rink metal. It's the Wall Street, New York, all the way to Kokpar, Kazakhstan, Almaty. World records have been set here by famous athletes. It takes just 30 minutes to get here from the city center. Highest mountain sports complex in the world.